At the start of the 20th century, American cooking was a reflection of a country still settling into its identity. Families prepared food slowly, often from whatever was available nearby. Over the next 100 years, the way the nation cooked and ate would change many times. New inventions arrived. New flavors entered the American pantry. Some dishes faded, while others became beloved traditions. This is a gentle walk through what Americans placed on their tables during each decade, from the early 1900s to the year 2000. It is a look at everyday meals, shaped by the world around them, and remembered by generations who grew up with their own favorite dishes. 1900s. Simple meals at the dawn of a new century. In the early 1900s, most meals were made from scratch. The country was still largely rural. People cooked at home, often using ingredients grown steps from their own door. Breakfasts were hearty and warm, oatmeal simmered on stovetops, sometimes flavored with molasses or dried fruit. Biscuits were common, especially in the South, where home cooks used buttermilk and lard to create tender dough. Lunch might have been soup, made with vegetables grown in the family garden, or leftover meats stretched into stews. Supper was the largest meal, served early in the evening. One of the most typical dishes was boiled beef or pot roast, served with potatoes and carrots. Chicken was usually saved for Sundays and special gatherings. Immigrant families introduced flavors from their home countries. Italian households made pasta and tomato-based sauces. German households enjoyed sausages, rye breads, and sauerkraut. These dishes slowly blended into the broader American palate. Though uncomplicated by modern standards, food in the 1900s carried the rhythm of the land. It was slow, comforting, and made with care. 1910s. Wartime adjustments and growing cities. The 1910s brought major changes. More Americans moved into cities and packaged foods began appearing in greater numbers. However, the decade was deeply shaped by World War I. Home cooks were encouraged to conserve wheat, sugar, and fats. Recipes adapted to these shortages. Cornmeal breads became common substitutes for wheat breads. Cooks used honey or syrups in place of refined sugar. Meatless meals gained popularity, often featuring beans or lentils. Government pamphlets circulated recipes meant to help families prepare filling foods with fewer resources. Despite the challenges, families still found joy in their meals. Simple desserts like fruit cobblers, rice puddings, and sponge cakes remained cherished treats. In growing urban areas, delicatessens offered prepared meats, pickles, and breads, giving city dwellers a taste of quick, convenient options. It was a decade of adaptation, where necessity shaped the table. 1920s. Prosperity, modern kitchens, and new convenience. When the 1920s arrived, many Americans experienced newfound prosperity. Electric refrigerators slowly made their way into middle-class homes. Modern kitchen tools like stand mixers and improved stoves appeared in magazines and shop windows. Food became slightly easier to prepare. Canned goods such as fruits, vegetables, and condensed soups grew in popularity. Families used these items to create quick casseroles, soups, and stews. Gelatin salads began to appear as a symbol of modern domestic life. These bright, molded dishes showcase the possibilities of convenience. Restaurants flourished too. Soda fountains served sandwiches, ice cream, and phosphates. Diners offered hamburgers and fries, though in a much simpler form than today. The country's appetite expanded, and for the first time, many foods gained national recognition. The American dinner table reflected a sense of optimism and exploration. 1930s. Depression era. Ingenuity and resourcefulness. The Great Depression altered nearly every part of daily life, including food. Families found ways to stretch the smallest amount of ingredients into meals that could fill many plates. Creativity became essential. Dishes like creamed chipped beef on toast, simple bean soups, and potato-based stews appeared often. Leftovers were transformed into new meals. Families baked inexpensive breads and rolls, sometimes adding mashed potatoes to the dough to make it stretch further. Casseroles became a fixture of American cooking because they were practical and affordable. A single pan could feed a family and reuse whatever ingredients were available. Fruit desserts used whatever could be gathered or purchased at low cost. Cobblers, crisps, and puddings became gentle comforts during hard times. Despite the struggle, the decade created a bond between families and their kitchens. These dishes, though humble, carried a sense of resilience and warmth. 1940s, World War II, rationing and home front traditions. The early 1940s introduced another period of rationing. Sugar, coffee, butter, meat, and canned goods were all carefully portioned. Home cooks relied on ration books to determine what they could buy. As a result, recipes adapted once again. People used margarine in place of butter. Meatloaf became more common, often stretched with breadcrumbs or oats. Victory gardens flourished behind homes and in shared community spaces. These gardens provided fresh vegetables, easing the burden on grocery stores and helping families maintain balanced meals. Baked goods used less sugar, favoring molasses or corn syrup instead. Powdered eggs appeared in kitchens across the country, offering a versatile, if unusual, ingredient. Despite rationing, holiday meals remained important. Families found ways to create special dishes, even if they required substitutions. By the end of the decade, when rationing eased, Americans welcomed a broader selection of foods again. The return of sugar, meat, and butter to everyday meals felt like a small but meaningful celebration. 1950s, post-war abundance and the rise of modern cooking. The 1950s introduced a wave of optimism. Suburban neighborhoods expanded, and families filled new homes with modern appliances. The electric refrigerator became standard. Freezers grew larger, allowing people to store foods longer. Convenience became a defining feature of the decade. Casseroles remained popular, but they took on new forms. Condensed soup, especially cream of mushroom, became a staple ingredient. Meals like tuna noodle casserole, chicken divan, and green bean casseroles appeared on dinner tables throughout the country. Frozen vegetables made cooking faster. Packaged cake mixes became household favorites, offering a reliable shortcut to homemade desserts. Gelatin dishes reached new creative heights with layers, fruits, and even savory mixes. While these dishes may seem unusual today, they were seen as practical and modern. Breakfast often included eggs, bacon, and toast, though boxed cereals became everyday staples. The 1950s embraced the idea that food could be quick, tidy, and consistent, reflecting the era's enthusiasm for innovation. 1960s, expanding flavors and international curiosity. During the 1960s, American tastes began to broaden. Travel became more common, and communities grew more diverse. These changes brought new ingredients and cooking styles into American homes. Italian-American dishes like lasagna, baked ziti, and pizza became more widespread. At the same time, interest in Asian flavors increased. Soy sauce, ginger, and rice appeared more often in home kitchens. While these dishes were often adapted to American tastes, they represented a growing curiosity about global food traditions. Vegetarian dishes gained attention as well. More people experimented with salads, grains, and vegetable-based meals. Home cooks enjoyed making stuffed peppers, tomato casseroles, and chilled vegetable salads. The cookbooks of the decade highlighted variety and encouraged experimentation. Desserts were simple but loved. Pineapple upside-down cake, chiffon pies, and chocolate pudding were common. The 1960s reflected a gentle shift toward variety, marking the beginning of America's journey into a more international food landscape. 1970s, cultural blending and homemade comforts. The 1970s continued the trend of expanding culinary awareness. Families discovered dishes inspired by Mexican, Chinese, and Mediterranean traditions. Tacos, stir-fries, and quiches became part of weekly meals in many households. Homemade yogurt machines appeared in kitchens, reflecting an interest in natural and health-forward eating. At the same time, comfort foods remained cherished. Slow-cooked pot roasts, baked chicken, and casseroles with rice or noodles were familiar favorites. Packaged foods continued to grow, with boxed stuffing, instant potatoes, and ready-made sauces offering shortcuts for busy families. Crockpots gained popularity, allowing home cooks to prepare warm, filling meals with little effort. Recipes like chili, beef stew, and pulled chicken became weeknight staples. Desserts included carrot cakes, banana breads, and bundt cakes. These were often shared at gatherings or enjoyed as after-dinner treats. The 1970s blended convenience with homemade comfort, offering a steady balance of old and new. 1980s. Convenience, bold flavors, and new products. The 1980s brought another wave of packaged foods, reflecting the decade's pace of life. Microwave ovens became widespread, transforming how quickly meals could be prepared. Frozen dinners, microwave popcorn, and heat-and-eat meals became part of everyday routines. At the same time, American interest in bold flavors grew. Tex-Mex dishes like fajitas, queso dips, and layered taco casseroles found their way into family cookbooks. Italian-American dishes remained popular, especially pasta with creamy sauces. Salads gained variety, often featuring ingredients like mandarin oranges, candied nuts, and poppy seed dressings. Fast food expanded rapidly, influencing how families viewed quick meals. Desserts from the decade included chocolate lava cakes, ice cream pies, and the growing popularity of cheesecake. Many dishes were rich, colorful, and comforting. The era embraced novelty and convenience in equal measure. 1990s. Global influence and fresh, light cooking. By the 1990s, American cooking entered a new phase. The global pantry widened even further. Ingredients like soy sauce, sesame oil, cilantro, and ginger became common. Stir-fried dinners, pasta salads, and simple sautéed dishes fit into busy lifestyles. Families looked toward lighter cooking styles. Grilled chicken, steamed vegetables, and simple pasta dishes were frequent choices. Wraps, bagel sandwiches, and fresh salads became everyday lunches. Packaged snacks continued to grow, but many families balanced them with homemade choices. Slow cookers remained popular, preparing stews and soups without much effort. Desserts often included brownies, lemon bars, and simple fruit crisps. Many households embraced a mixture of quick meals and home-cooked comfort foods. By the decade's end, American cooking represented a blend of tradition, innovation, and global inspiration. 2000. A new century and a blend of old and new. As the century closed, American cooking stood at a crossroads. Families carried traditions from earlier decades, while also embracing new flavors and techniques. The meals on the table reflected memories, cultures, and the many transformations of the past 100 years. Homes welcomed both modern convenience and timeless recipes. Slow-cooked dishes shared space with quick stir-fries. Fresh vegetables joined classic casseroles. Foods once seen as unusual became part of everyday life. The story of American cooking across the 20th century is one of adaptation, creativity, and community. Each decade contributed something different, shaping how families cooked, gathered, and shared meals. From the simple stews of the 1900s to the global flavors of the 1990s, each era reflected the way people lived, worked, and connected. These dishes tell a gentle story of resilience, curiosity, and comfort. If you enjoyed this walk through history, feel free to like or follow for more videos like this.